All right, gamers. Gamers. Let's take a look at this. Ubisoft exec says gamers need to get comfortable with not owning your games. Ubisoft's director of subscriptions says that. Okay, bro. Director of subscriptions over here saying that gamers need to start feeling comfortable with not owning the games they're playing. Yeah, okay. Sure. And I think maybe this director needs to get comfortable with people thinking about what Luffy might do in this situation, right? The same thing when we're talking about anime. Oh, you don't like Crunchyroll? Think about what Luffy might do. You don't like this Ubisoft director? You don't like what he has to say, what Ubisoft has to say about this? Think about what Luffy might do. Anyways, let's take a look at this article by The Gamer. Just like with music and television, the games industry has been slowly shifting towards the all-digital future for some time now, despite pushback from surging communities with concerns surrounding preservation and ownership. Unfortunately, it seems like the biggest publishers out there aren't concerned about the latter, as a Ubisoft executive recently stated that gamers need to get used to the feeling of not owning their games. This statement was made by Ubisoft's director of subscriptions, Philip Tremblay, who recently spoke to GamesIndustry.biz about the all-digital future. The digital future, excuse me. They said it above, I thought I was just kind of seeing it again, my bad. And Ubisoft Plus specifically. Tremblay states that people eventually got comfortable with not owning their CD or DVD collections, and that a similar shift in attitude needs to happen in gamers. A quote, "One of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVD, having and owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen." No, I don't think so. A lot of digital games are technically licenses as it is, and that's something that people kind of put up with. Some people don't, to be fair, but to be fair, also a lot of people do. But a lot of them are still not comfortable with that fact. And it's something that people talk about and push back against, which I think is a pretty good thing. Because I think it's a pretty greedy and nefarious approach to business, specifically for companies, games companies, to be like, yes, we will sell you this thing, but you technically don't own it. Especially when a lot of these games companies are AAA companies, and they're trying to charge more and more and more money out of everyone, on top of the fact that they also don't even want you to own the product. Now, some people also argue that, well, you don't even own a physical copy of a game. If you buy that, you don't truly own it anyways, in certain circumstances. So then the point would then be, I suppose, well, realistically, how much can they enforce that? Especially if you have certain ways of bypassing their attempts at enforcing those things. Back to the article. Tremblay's view on physical games isn't that shocking considering he's a director of subscriptions, but he does leave out some concerns shared by many when it comes to subscription services. For starters, games actually do come and go on these services right now, with the most recent example being Grand Theft Auto 5 leaving Xbox Game Pass. If you play games only via subscription services, you can very easily lose access to certain titles on a regular basis. Secondly, games that are pulled from online stores for one reason or another would mean they cease to exist in an all-digital future. The two high-profile examples are the original Alan Wake and Ubisoft's very own The Crew, both of which were pulled due to licensing issues, while the former eventually returned to digital storefronts thanks to the recent remaster. The Crew can no longer be bought and will poof out of existence on March 31st, 2024. Despite these worries, it seems inevitable that publishers will try and push more and more players towards subscription services for the foreseeable future. They've seen how much money that they bring for streaming giants such as Netflix and Disney and want a slice of the action, with subscription revenue making up 89% of the video-based content market in the UK last year. Whether the games industry will make as smooth a transition remains to be seen. Now, I also understand that some people actually like this sort of subscription-based approach. Like, they're totally fine with that, and they may even see it as good value for them, just on the way that they game. However, what this dude seems to be implying is that he wants all gamers to be comfortable with not owning their games, as if he wants all gamers to essentially move over to subscription-based services. And like I said, there are some people that do like that, but it comes off real greedy when these companies that are already making a killing, making a ton of money, want the whole market slice for themselves, right? They're not comfortable having a slice of the market that's still extremely lucrative. Nah, they gotta try and push everyone towards that. Some public reception to this news from Reddit Gaming News. Gamers say Ubisoft executive needs to get comfortable with gamers continuing to own their games. I can do that, or I can try voting him out in that annual shareholder meeting. Do it. Wonder Wonder how they'd react if the next game they release got astronomically pirated. And another user saying, if buying is not ownership, then piracy is not stealing. Take a look at a few more of these comments. Another user saying, anyways, adds Ubisoft's entire catalog to the torrent queue. And a response to that, Ubisoft needs to get comfortable with not owning their games. Say pirates. Some pretty funny responses there. Keep at it, gamers. You know. Oh man, make these executives mad. I'll leave it there, man. Thank you all for tuning in. See you in the comments. If you enjoyed this, consider liking and subscribing. Appreciate you. And yeah, I'll see you in the comments and in the next segment.